Welcome, friends, to our Make Monday Magic Again call. Today is November 1st, 2021, and I'm excited to be here after taking a week away for the retreat that I led up in Maine. It was lovely and soul nourishing, and also, as the leader, a little bit exhausting. So I was saying before we've hit record that I feel like I'm still slowly getting back into the swing of things, which is fine. It's something that I always recommend, whether it's after a retreat that you led, an event that you hosted, a conference that you helped organize, or something that you participated in. It's always nice. We don't always have the time to maybe take a day or two off afterward, but at least to go slow and allow yourself not to be slammed back into your full schedule or your regular routine, like allowing yourself to go through that transition. So maybe we'll talk a little bit more about the retreat. There's a few things that I do want to share today, but let's take a moment to come into this space together. If you want to, you can close your eyes. Taking a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Another 2 breaths like that. Big inhale. Big exhale. One more. Full breath in. Open mouth breath out. Whatever you've already done this week, whatever you've not done this week, whatever you have yet to do or don't know that you have yet to do, letting that all fade to the background, letting anything that feels like a distraction that's not in the here and the now fade to the background. And coming into this moment, this present moment, the here and the now, so that your intuition, your higher self can speak to you, so that you can hear those messages, those insights, those downloads, pointing you towards your next step for your highest and best good. Another full breath in and another full breath out. And when you are ready, you can open your eyes. You can open your eyes. So welcome. Hello, Hannah. Nice to have you here. We just grounded in for a moment. And there's a few things that I wanted to share about this week before we do our weekly setup. I know I woke up this morning, even though, like I said, I was feeling a little slow. I was also feeling ready to step into the next thing. And I attribute that to a few factors. One, not directly, but we do have a new moon in Scorpio this week, this Thursday, the 4th of November. And as you'll recall, new moons are times of new beginnings, new emotional stories. It's when we plant seeds. And so it is an opportunity to start something new, to start something fresh, even if that just begins with an idea. And a side note that I wanted to make about this new moon is that this is the last new moon, or the last moon, the last new lunation before we enter into eclipse season. I have a blog post on eclipse season. I'll link it in the replay to this video. If you need a refresher, if you're not really sure what eclipse season means, I highly recommend checking that out. But basically, eclipse season can be a time of great change. And these changes can sometimes feel sudden. They can sometimes feel unexpected. They can sometimes feel big. But they are always, always, always bringing us closer to our life's path, our life's purpose. And the practice in eclipse season is to create space. So if your schedule, if your next few weeks is already feeling very full, you might want to look ahead and see what you can clear out, where you can create some space and set some intentions with this new moon, because we don't work with the moons the same in eclipse season. We don't necessarily manifest. Again, this is where we open up to receive the guidance, the direction, the like push from the universe. So it's more about keeping our eyes open, keeping our minds open, and accepting, embracing, and working with what comes to us. So that's what's happening astrologically this week. And if you are interested in learning more about the moons and you're not in your stellar center already, join before Thursday to get that new moon ritual and some extra support around the eclipse season. But I think the bigger reason why there's two bigger reasons why I feel this like forward moving energy, and also some space, some energetic space cleared. One is that Mercury is exiting Libra and it's moving through the last of its retrograde shadow. So you might be feeling this too, in that there's some more space or some more just like forward moving, faster, clearer energy there. And then also, and this is for me personally, we did some deep work on the retreat last week. We did some shadow work, we did some grief recovery, and I felt this on the retreat, this like opening up of space, this clearing for where I can step into something new. And I'm excited to ride that in like the practical action. Yeah. So for this week, again, my encouragement is maybe you do work with this moon, because it's the last moon before we move into eclipse season, where things get a little different. And yeah, to clear some space, to look at your weeks or your months ahead and see if there's things on your calendar or things on your to-do list that are no longer serving you or aren't really important for you to do right now. Scorpio is also about getting, and we're in Scorpio season, which we haven't really talked about since we took last week off, but Scorpio is all about getting to truth, getting to the essential. And oftentimes Scorpio is also a sign associated with death, which we see coming up in a lot of other traditions this month or last month, this time period. And so it's a beautiful opportunity to identify the things that maybe aren't serving you that you can let go of. So with that, let's go into our process for the week. If anyone wants to share anything that's live, you're welcome to. You absolutely don't have to. And yeah, we'll take a few minutes, maybe like 8 minutes to 10 minutes. Brain dump your tasks for the week, either in a document or a note, or you can do it in paper if you'd like. And also, while you're doing this, again, it can be personal tasks and business tasks, but seeing if, and this is where your like intuition or your higher self can come in and speak to you, what is your 1, 2, or maybe 3 big rocks, your priority items? And I'll say 1 to 2, like 3 might be a lot. 1 to 2 big rocks, priority items, things that if that's all you did for the week, you'd feel really great. As you're doing your list, maybe you already know, but inviting your higher self, your intuition to speak to you and show you what's most important for you this week. Hannah said, love this invitation for more space and release. I know it's not something that our capitalist, achievement-based, accumulation-based society teaches us about or values, but this is the season. Fall into winter is the season of letting go, the season of getting to that place of emptiness or that place of less, so that then we can regenerate in the spring and birth something new or grow something new in the spring. So I'm going to mute myself. You're welcome to put on some music. If you want some music, I might put on some music over here. We'll do our process and then we'll meet back here in just like 8 to 10 minutes or so. All right. How are we doing? I identified my big rock, which is not a surprise because it's connected to what I shared about having space to work on the new. And while there are some like more practical action items this week, this one actually felt most important to like ride the energy and take action on, even though it could wait. So for a while, there's been some like change brewing in my business, in the services that I offer and how I communicate those services through my website specifically. And so that's what I want to, and I have the vision, like the visions have been percolating for the last few weeks. So my big rock is to get that grounded, to get it into a document and to actually start working on the small copy updates for my website. And that would feel really freaking great if I got that done or at least started this week. The other thing that's on my big rock list is I always send an email after the retreat within a week or so with some resources, follow-up resources. There's a few like action items, like do your own reflection on the retreat. And I'd like to get that out earlier this week, or at least by the end of the week, just for energetic wrap up of the experience. If anyone else would like to share their big rocks, you can unmute yourself, you can put it in the chat. And of course, this is optional, but sometimes it's nice to share for accountability. And if you're watching this replay and you'd like to leave a comment on the YouTube video, that can be your accountability as well.
I'll share for a moment. Hi, Emily.
Hi.
Treat. Gosh, I'm really struggling with the big rocks, to be honest. I'm finding that my brain is like very caught in the minutia and is just like more webs as opposed to like coming down into the roots.
Mm-hmm.
So as I'm sitting here and just feeling into it, which I think was my hope by speaking, that what would feel really helpful is continuing to get clarity through action.
Yes.
In my grad school applications. And so I have a couple of like small micro items on that, but I think that just reminding myself that the clarity will come through actually checking some of those off and doing them.
Yeah. Okay, I'm so glad you spoke because two things you said really resonated, and I think they'll resonate with others as well. One, sometimes in sharing or speaking, and if you don't have a place like these calls or with a teacher, or healer, or, therapist or whatever, if you don't have a space to actually speak out loud in an audience, you can also do this on voice notes, like on your phone. But sometimes in speaking, even though we have our to-do list all written down, we can feel what it is that we really want and need to go after. It's like when we hear ourselves articulate, that's when the clarity comes or the feeling comes. And connected to that, and this was a big theme that we talked a lot about last week in the retreat, was that clarity sometimes comes through action. We have this conception or this belief system that we have to have clarity and then we take the action. Like we see the goal and then we go, we take the steps to get there, which sometimes is how things go. And other times, if we're just not getting clarity, or it's not coming to us, we have to take the action first. And sometimes the doing, whether that is like for you doing your grad school applications, taking a next step with that. for me, getting into my website, really looking and starting to change some things or looking at the copy, that's when the clarity comes. So I think that's a really important piece to pull out in case anybody else is stuck in that, like, I don't see the bigger vision or I don't see the whole path forward. It's okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, Hannah. Kara, would you like to share or no? Not to put you on the spot, but I just want to give you the space if you'd like to share.
Sure, that's fine. I'll share. Mine's probably a little more functional and less exciting, but I really need to clean my bedroom. It
Yeah.
is, the space has just, it's like, I was not well for a week ago. And so, and even before that, but um so anyway, it's just at a point where it's starting to just, overwhelm me. And
Yeah.
then, getting it sorted is its own overwhelming thing. So what I did was, instead of just having clean my bedroom on my list, I have very specific like
Mm,
area, like clean off the desk, clean off this space, clean out that drawer, organize the closet, very kind of smaller specific tasks so that I can make space and time for them, but also have just, something I can do and get it done, and then even let it go for the day. Or if I want to do more, fine, but it's more manageable for me that way. So I'm chipping away at the big rock.
yes, I love that. And thank you for the reminder because I need to clean my house too. And usually I clean on the new moon, and there is a new moon this week. And it's also too, it's like at a point in some places where it starts to impact you, especially as many of us are still spending more time at home and maybe will be spending more time at home, as at least for us in the Northern Hemisphere, the days get shorter, the weather gets a little chillier. And there's like, sometimes that is the big rock, is clean the house, do the meal prep. Something that doesn't feel particularly potent or like, what did you say? You said it's not as like,
It's not as exciting.
it's not as
just,
exciting, but
it's
it's
super basic, but
super
the
important.
result can be so like, it starts to impact me energetically at a point, where I'm just like,
yeah, 100%. So I'm glad that you have that and that you also broke it down into those smaller goals. And that's such another great tip. If anybody's big rocks or any items on their list are feeling, and I'll give the example with website updates, because a lot of times when folks do have website updates to do, it's like a daunting thing. Oh my gosh, how do I do this whole website update? And it just becomes an item that is hanging over because we don't know where to start. So like you did, breaking it down into manageable chunks. Okay, well, today I'm going to look at the photos. Today I'm going to look at the copy. Today I'm just going to look at it and do an audit of what I think needs to change. That is a really great practice to get yourself unstuck. So I love that. Thank you for sharing. Awesome. Well, again, if anybody's watching this replay, well, not if anybody's watching this replay, because I know people watch this replay. As always, we love hearing from you. You can reach out to me directly, or also leave a comment. Again, there's power in putting your goals or things that you're wanting to be held accountable to, or even things that you're feeling challenged with. There's power in putting them out, putting these things out there in a more public way. It's like telling the universe, okay, I see this, I'm ready to take action on this, I'm ready for this to shift. So you can leave a comment on this video on YouTube. And as always, I hope to see you next week, next Monday, same time. We'll be here for our weekly dose of inspiration, motivation, and also connection, because that's what these calls are about as well. All right, my friends, thank you so much for showing up, whether you're here live or you're watching the replay. And again, I hope to see you next week.